The real reason that the Democrats and the media are so upset about Biden's debate performance and trying to get him to step down is because their gig is up. They've been outed and they're trying to cover their ass. They have known since 2020 when they were hiding Biden in the basement. Remember, he wasn't doing, I don't think he did a debate, or he did a debate, but he wasn't doing speeches. He wasn't going around the country. He was very noticeably absent. They hid him away. They've known he had cognitive dementia, but they kept him on because he was doing their bidding, fighting the wars, doing tax cuts for the rich, letting in more illegal immigrants, being anti-police, being pro-trans rights, and all these woke issues, while letting our country rot because the rich people didn't care about any of that. Now I'm going to play for you a clip from Courageous Media, and then I'll be back.
For a second that the media is upset that they've been misled by Biden's condition. They've been in on the cover-up.
That's right.
They see what you and I do.
That is so important. Do not think for a minute that the media is suddenly doing its job, that they've had a revelation, that Biden is somehow cognitively impaired. And where have we been for the last 4 years? They've been in on the scam from 5 years ago. They knew he was cognitively impaired when they shoved him in a basement in 2020. They knew that. They knew that the one true thing that he said in that campaign was, I have assembled the largest voter fraud organization in the history of the United States. The one true thing he said, that Freudian slip, was absolutely prescient. They've been in on the scam from the get-go. No, they're just pissed now because the scam has been made readily apparent to the American people because Biden so flubbed it during the debate, and he flubbed it in a cognitive way. It wasn't misspeaks. It wasn't bad policy. It wasn't, you got some words twisted up. No, his senior senility moments, whether they're Alzheimer's or dementia or whatnot, were readily apparent to the entire American public, and they know they're outed, and now they're pissed, and now they're trying to CYA. That's what this is about.
They've never raised his age before.
Nope.
You've seen Biden hold his note cards at press conferences where he gets the questions ahead of time. We've seen that.
And now I'm going to play a clip from Breaking Points where they interview Abigail Disney. And I don't mean to throw any shade at her. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. But her view represents that of all the donors, which is they had no problem with us bombing and doing genocide in Gaza. They have no problem with Bush invading Iraq under false pretenses. They have no problem with us ignoring the poverty in our own country, the homelessness, the drug addiction, the devaluation of our dollar, the war that we're trying to fight against Russia. They have no problem with any of that, okay? They don't care about any of that because they were donating to Biden the whole time and he was their guy. But they have a problem with the fact that he's outed. And they knew he had dementia. So I'm going to play this clip with this interview from Abigail Disney. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I'm not trying to throw any shade at her, but I think she represents what the real issue is. So let's listen to this clip and I'll be back.
You know, there's no question these last 4 years have been great, and we're really pleased with him. But this is not the same, for instance, as some faux pas or some gaffe at a debate. This is a problem that gets worse every single day. You know, if we were accusing him of being a 12-legged squid, you know, he could come out tomorrow and prove that he's not a 12-legged squid, right? But he can't come out and say, I'm not getting older, because obviously that's just what happens with the passage of time. And so if he is displaying weakness now today, if he is really looking that weak in comparison to the opponent, I don't think that time is on his side. I do think it is. I'm sorry, but this extreme high opinion, white, powerful men tend to have of themselves that keeps him in the running here. And I would suggest he go read King Lear.
So Miss Abigail Disney, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you're not, I wish that you would have spoken up when we started giving weapons to Ukraine, when we started sending weapons to Israel, when we didn't do anything to provide free education for the struggling people. I mean, I'm sure you have your things that you volunteer for and that causes that you're involved in, but the real issues that this country needs, you were silent on those issues. And now you're speaking up against Biden being outed as being mentally incompetent when this has been known all along. One more thing I want to add to the video, and thank you, Miss Abigail Disney, if you watched this, which I'm sure you didn't. You seem like a very sweet lady, and I love the red room and your glasses and everything, and Disney and all that. But the Democrats changed the primaries. Remember, they were supposed to be, Iowa was the first state to caucus, and then they were going to switch things up because they knew Biden's popularity was so low. But they didn't care, and then they didn't hold a rigorous primary. They had really good candidates like Bernie Sanders and Robert Kennedy Jr., Robert Kennedy, and Elizabeth Warren. They had them all drop out of the race because Biden was their guy. They handpicked their guy, and they don't let people choose, and that's fine with the donors because the donors all want war. Miss Abigail Disney and all these other donors, I've never heard any of you speak out against the war, ever. Or corruption on Wall Street, or forced vaccination with the gene therapy that we were forced to take, while now all these illegal immigrants can come in without any jabs or any checks at all, and now they're talking about wanting them to vote. So it seems a bit disingenuous, but the reason that they're having this whole Biden must step down is because they've been caught red-handed. That their guy that they've been hiding in the basement, giving him cue cards, the gig is up. He can no longer play. And I don't know why they put him in the first place, why they ever thought he could beat Trump when his approval rating was so low. So I'm curious, are you going to vote? Are you going to vote for Biden? They can't take him off the ticket. They have to put in Kamala. Kamala, she's going to lose and Trump's going to win. That's what I think is going to happen, unless people start voting for a third party. But I'm interested to see what they'll do at the Democratic Convention. If they're going to try to have some kind of a poll to see who their new guy is going to be that they're going to put in. At least the Republicans let you choose the devil that can lead this country. The Democrats will just tell you who you can have. But again, they're all fighting wars. They're all for Big Pharma. They're all for Wall Street. You know, I mean, it really doesn't matter who we vote for, but I'm just having a great time watching these liars be outed. They've lied to us. We've known all along that he was senile. There are a lot of sharp men. Bernie Sanders is in his 80s, I believe. He's super sharp. John Mersheimer, he's older. He's super sharp. There are many people well in their 80s and 90s that are very sharp. So this is not about aging. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. All the guys who say I should stick to sex and not geopolitics because I don't know what I'm talking about, I just hide you from the channel. I have no use for guys like that, or I don't want to hear your political views. I think what I have to say is very important, because what I'm trying to share about is the truth that we don't get from the mainstream media. And if you're on YouTube, there are many other options you can listen to if you actually want to open your eyes and see the truth. That's what we have to do. We have to wake up, and we want to turn this country around. One more thing I want to add. In 10 years from now, our combined debt will be $50 trillion. And the interest alone on the debt will take up the entire budget of Social Security and Medicare, and I think the military combined. So in 10 years, for sure, we're going to be in utter financial chaos and depression and economic collapse. Okay, so it's coming. It's at 30 trillion now. We can barely pay the interest on our debt. We are an empire in decline. and all they're talking about is Biden is senile. None of them are talking about the empire in decline. None of the newspapers, not Miss Abigail Disney, not even Breaking Points. But we see it coming. We can still turn things around, but once it's come, it'll be too late. We'll all be foraging for food somewhere. I don't know what's going to happen when we have high inflation and no one is buying our treasuries. Already, we are making enemies with other countries is just accelerating it. When we froze the assets on Russia, Russia was like, okay, well, I'm not going to try to get along with the U.S. anymore. I mean, Trump was his last hope. I'm just going to have to make friends with these other countries for our own survival. So they've made so many alliances. Did you see the wonderful hug that Putin did with India's Prime Minister, Modi? It's beautiful. He handed him like this big gold lei and put it around his neck and gave him a hug. Like, they're building alliances. That's what I want us to do. I want our president to go out and build alliances and go around the world and be greeted with the red carpet and with flowers and with enthusiasm for what we can do with trade and with cooperation. All this bombing is not helping. It's accelerating the decline of the empire, which has spread too far. And it is happening in our lifetime, in real time, you guys. And all they're talking about is Biden's dementia instead of the real stuff. So, yeah, this is a channel where I talk about what I want. So if you don't like it, you can... don't watch, just switch the channel.